My name is Stephanie Marcus. I'm 27 and I'm a scientist and I go to Church of the City. I was saved very, very young enough to be strapped into a car seat young. And even though I didn't understand deep theological doctrine, I understood relationship and I understood the idea of eternal separation. And I had really joyful, childlike faith. When I was 7, my family moved to a new community of Christians, and in that community, I started focusing on adherence and really just checking boxes and having this appearance of faith. By the time I was 14 or 15, I had already read the entire Bible, King James Version, which was mostly because there was a public tracking sheet that I was going to crush. I was baptized when I was 12, and I was baptized because a bunch of other young people from my church had decided they wanted to get baptized. And even though I made that decision in faith, it was really out of conformity, and I could just as easily not have been saved. So in high school, my faith was very performative. It just became about rote behavioral modification as opposed to real relationship with the Father. And I didn't actively read or pray for probably 10 years in this period of time, even though I was outwardly the model Christian doing all of the right things. And in college, I had no community, I had no Christian friends. I threw myself into academics and really centered my identity around academics. And it took me 2 years to pray and ask for a community of Christians. Within days of those prayers, I got started on a 4-month-long journey bringing me to COTC, which included meeting someone randomly online who was attending and invited me, sitting next to a couple of Alice's Teacup who I met the next day at my first service at COTC, who were Isaac and Emily, and they were leading worship. And the roommate of a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, who was the greeter the first time that I went to COTC. I've been coming to COTC for 2.5 years now, but only in the last year have I begun to dig into my faith. Piece by piece, I began to understand the lies I had absorbed and the lies that I was telling myself to avoid confronting the sins of my heart. So I think the parable of the Prodigal Son really mirrors my testimony, except I'm not the prodigal, I'm the older brother. Both sons were equally far from the Father, and I realized that I needed to set aside the sins of my heart and self-righteousness in order to have true relationship with God and with other Christians.